is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
You know, guys, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It's a behind-the-scenes Talkin Cowboys secret, and we all have a ton of fun here. And we have a little tradition pre-show where we talk about, we all ask Isaiah to get us fired up what he does in the morning. And we can't say what his answer is normally on air. We can't say that. But, Isaiah, I want you to turn things around, and I want you to ask me what I did this morning. Can you do that for me?
I think I mustered that up.
Okay.
Kyle, what did you do this morning?
Well, I woke up with a smile on my face. You know why? Because the Cowboys got a win yesterday. And not only did they get a win, but it gave me an opportunity to go drive down the street to my local Whataburger. And I picked up me a fresh bag of 40 Burger because the Dallas Cowboys have their first 40 Burger of the Mike McCarthy era. And the Dallas Cowboys got a dub, a 40 Burger and a win, 40-39. They needed every single point, but they got it. Wow, what a game yesterday. We're talking Cowboys, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to talk some Cowboys. I'm Kyle Yeomans, Heckma Harrison, Rob Phillips, Isaiah Stanback. And, guys, it's been a while now. It's been a couple hours, to say the least, since yesterday's win over the Atlanta Falcons. However, the words still, it really seems like there's really not a ton of words to describe exactly what happened because it was that wild of a game, Rob.
Oh, yeah. It's WUT. What? 40-39? Are you kidding me? I mean, I was trying to go through last night and think of the games that I've covered or seen with the Cowboys that make you go, what the hell did I just see? And I only came up with two in like the last 20 years. You got the Romo game in 2007 where he threw 5 picks at Buffalo and they still found a way to win. And you got the 51-48 game with Romo and Peyton Manning just trading bombs down the field, and the Broncos pull it out. Other than that, I don't think I've seen a Cowboy game quite like that, and, man, did they need that because we talked about it during the week, and I think by the end of the week we were all in agreement. Yeah, that was a must-win football game for your Dallas Cowboys, and now they're 1-1 going to Seattle. We'll get to that later in the week.
Heckma, I know you're ready to explode.
Come on, Rob. Let us enjoy this one. Go ahead, Kyle. I'm not going to interrupt you anymore.
I was letting you go. I was saying, Heckma, I know you're ready to explode. Where are you at? I want that energy from Heckma Harrison, man.
You know already, dog. This is crazy. All you Cowboy haters, and I know you tuned in. Our haters tune in, too. I know. Second quarter, y'all was ready. Y'all knew it. First quarter, y'all, oh my God, Monday morning glory. I'm going to be able to hate on the Cowboys. Oh, this is a dumpster fire. And what do we do? The most improbable victory in Cowboy history. I know Rob, he has all the numbers, and I know Isaiah is going to pontificate about this victory. It's going to be eloquent, ladies and gentlemen. But let me tell you something. Man, Mike Gallup, boy, that's how you catch the football. CeeDee Lamb, thank you so much. Look, guys, I don't know. Y'all trying to play it too cool. I don't want to play it cool. I'm telling you, and Dak Prescott, boy, what about my quarterback? I know all of y'all thought there for just a little second y'all was going to pile on the Dak Prescott hate. Oh, but no. What did he do? 450 yards, 3 touchdowns. Come on, dog. Everybody today, if y'all not feeling like this, I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Come on, Isaiah. It's your turn. Go ahead.
Is you finished or is you done?
I'm not done. Give me another second. I go right back.
He's not done. He's not done.
Goodness gracious. We need to get him back in studio for the soundproofing. That's what we need to get Heckma back for.
I am going to give a congratulations to all of Cowboy Nation. They took care of business. But the question I want to pose today, and I know this isn't going to be received well.
No, it's not.
Did the Cowboys win or did the Falcons lose? And that's the question I want to ask. The Cowboys did everything in their power. They overcame insurmountable things that they had to overcome, right? They had 4 fumbles in the first, I think, was it 10 minutes, I believe it was?
Yeah.
Dak gave the ball away. Zeke gave it away a couple times. Pollard gave it away. I mean, guys, they were just giving gifts away. It was doggone Christmas, right? Out here in September. And then they had the tackles that they had to overcome, right? That wasn't even a problem aside from that first quarter, right? McKinley got hurt. That was a very key portion of this game, because had McKinley never got hurt, I think that we would have had some troubles on that edge, because he was bringing the fire early on.
Yeah. Remember what you said. Remember what you said about if being the fifth, right? You said that. No.
Absolutely.
Don't you start that.
Hey, I'm just throwing it out there. But all in all, regardless of all the things that happened, the Cowboys had to show up, and they showed up. They took care of business. They overcame all the adversity that they faced early on, and they got the W. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. There's a whole lot we're going to fill in terms of the gaps. Kyle, I'm throwing it back to you.
Yeah, let's go ahead and throw the gaps. And that was a very anchorish type of report there, Isaiah. Thank you for your contributions to the show. But I think whenever it comes,
throwing it back to you.
When it comes to the Cowboys and the win yesterday, Isaiah's exactly right. It wasn't 100% a Cowboys win. It was just as much an Atlanta loss, because there were opportunities left on the table for both sides. And the reason it's a memorable win is because of the hole that the Cowboys dug themselves in the first quarter, just not taking care of the football. I mean, we saw uncharacteristic type of stuff. Whenever Ezekiel Elliott fumbles twice in a row in a quarter, it's going to be a rough day holding on to the football. And you saw it later when Dalton Schultz fumbled. You saw it when Tony Pollard fumbled. You had that feeling in the first quarter of it being a blowout. And it was at first, 20-0 at the end of the first quarter. Then the Cowboys locked down after that. And that's really what we're happy about, is the fact that you saw what this Dallas Cowboys team can be. You saw the ceiling. That second half, if the Cowboys play like that in the second half consistently for the rest of the year, you're talking about one of the best teams in the NFL, if not the best team in the NFL, because of how much they were able to stifle Atlanta and then get that offense rolling, which is what we've been waiting on. However, there's a lot to be desired, and there's not that consistency yet. There's a long way to go for the Dallas Cowboys to hit that mark, and that's why we're filling in these holes. But when you look back at yesterday's game, Heckma, and you kind of look at some of the mistakes that were made early on the offensive side of the football, what stood out to you the most? Because there were plenty to look at early.
All right, so I'll calm down now, Chris Bean. All right, so it was so many. I mean, where do you go? I mean, there was the fumbles the first quarter, like you said, when Zeke fumbled twice, it was like, man, am I in a parallel universe? What's happening? This doesn't happen. And it just, look, man, there was so much blame to go around on both sides of the football, but offensively, we just could not get into any rhythm. The first quarter, miraculously, though, the second, third, fourth, I mean, it seemed to be that our offense started to get that rhythm, the creativity that we've been looking for. Dak was on point with a lot of it, man. There was some sporadic throws, but a lot of his throws, man, he was on point. But you're right, Kyle. What an awful first quarter of football. Hadn't seen any that bad in a very long time.
I'm not going to say they had just 3 turnovers in the first quarter. They had 4. Because anytime you go for a fake punt at your own 29-yard line in the first quarter, that's quite a risk right there. And they teed up another field goal for them. They spotted them 20 points. And to Heckma's point, like offensively, you're missing your starting 2 tackles, and it seemed like early on they were running their offense how they normally would at full strength.
Absolutely.
To me, they didn't come out with adjustments. And I'll tell you, guys, I'll be honest with you. I'm ready for the K-ball Buffalo Bills like 90s offense right now with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm ready to just jack the tempo up and keep it that way. And keep it that way because like Heckma said, it wasn't until after they got down 20-0 they kind of were forced to go up tempo. And I swear every time they do it, it seems like it works for them. And I don't know if it's because it's in desperation and maybe sometimes defenses are kind of playing back, maybe a little prevent, but they like Heckma said, they got a rhythm after that. And I think that was a huge difference. You look at the halftime stats, they were pretty similar in terms of total yards, first downs. They just almost gave the game away in the first quarter or so.
Yeah, to your point, Rob, I mean, and just to answer this for all the Cowboys Nation, whenever you go no huddle, it allows for your team to get in a rhythm, right? You're in a rhythm. So you practice 2-minute drills all the time during the week leading up to the game, and it just puts you in this rhythm of, hey, I don't have to think that much, right? I could just play ball. So you get up, you line up, you run the play, you go. Or you get right back on there, you do the same thing. What happens is when you break the huddle and you go line up, now you're doing all these pre-snap reads, you're doing all these pre-snap adjustments, and you're playing this chess game prior to the ball being snapped, right? And it really takes away from your ability just to go out there and just play ball. So that's why you see this tempo really kind of pick up. And some teams can do it the whole game. Some teams do it just in 2 minutes. Some teams throw it in there just as a changeup. And obviously the Cowboys, it works for them. Overall, as an offense, these guys obviously got out to a bad start. I know I specifically talked about the defensive coordinator being one of the biggest threats of the game. And I think that whatever it is they saw on film in terms of the Cowboys' ball security, that defensive coordinator made it a point to practice punching the ball out during practice leading up to this game, because that's all they were doing. They were not concerned about securing tackles. If you go back and watch the film, these dudes were literally freaking Mike Tyson in this thing out of Zeke's hands. So those guys were just throwing their bows in there like Ludacris, and they were getting the ball out. and you know. And to the defenses, well, I know let's not get out of defense yet. But on the offensive side of the ball, you had somebody who showed up in the form of Schultz. Schultz showed up and he took care of business. Beyond proud of him. I know there's a lot of speculation in terms of whether he and Bale were going to be able to get the job done. He definitely did so. Kudos off to him.
And he said, hey, I had 2 drops in the opener and I had to do something about it. And we talked about maybe man coverage in this game, and he had it. I mean, he had some one-on-one opportunities, and he took advantage of it, and they went to some quick stuff. And maybe they had to, but when you're missing your starting 2 tackles, they got the ball out quicker, and it helped them get in a little bit of a rhythm going forward.
9 receptions, a team high for Dalton Schultz, and he also had 88 yards in his first career touchdown reception. It was also the first touchdown that Dak Prescott has ever thrown against the Atlanta Falcons, even though he had rushed for, by the time he threw his first one, he had rushed for 4 touchdowns against the Falcons. He finally got one through the air and then added another rushing one later on. But I think that's probably one of the biggest things that stood out to me was not only the play calling shift, and we're going to talk about the coaching staff and whether or not that it was a good coaching job or a bad coaching job here in the second segment when we come back. But really, when it comes to the tight ends, you don't have Blake Jarwin. You're worried about that. You're worried about having a receiving threat like Blake Jarwin in the middle, and you didn't have that. Or at least seemingly heading into the week, we thought it was going to be the Blake Bell and Dalton Schultz show blocking. It wasn't going to be a ton of involvement in the passing game. That was not right. Dalton Schultz stood up. He was in multiple big-time key plays down the stretch, including the touchdown. But whenever it comes to Dalton Schultz, is that something that he can be consistent in, Isaiah, moving forward?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, he showed up yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. And that's one game that we can credit it to. He showed up and he showed out. Every team presents its own challenges. Right. Every team presents its own challenges. I don't foresee him having any issues this coming week against Seattle. I know we're not talking about Seattle yet, but Seattle had some injuries yesterday that's going to play into his favor. But I think that he'll be okay over these next few weeks. But if you face a team that has a really good defensive end, that's when things get a little bit tricky.
Oh man, you're going to give us our 24-hour rule, Isaiah. You're going to let us celebrate this, all right? So. Let us do
I said he took care of business.
All right. The question, Dalton Schultz can definitely do it. I was so impressed and so proud of the game that he had yesterday, especially with all the dirt that was thrown on him after the Rams loss. And also, Belldozer. We had a Belldozer showing on third down, man. He came up big. Both of those guys blocked, just superior blocking for both of these guys. But, man, I mean, you got to credit Atlanta's defense for just forgetting about Dalton Schultz and just giving him an opportunity to just run in those windows. And he did a phenomenal job of finding that space and sitting down on that seam. Man, Dalton Schultz, man, what an amazing play for him yesterday. But man, I thought he had 2 touchdowns yesterday on that one where Deion Jones blew up Dak Prescott and the ball went to Dalton Schultz. I thought he made an athletic move and got into the end zone, but they said he was stopped at the 1-yard line.
I looked at Dave Hellman in the press box at one point, and I said, you know what? I am never making a judgment off of training camp practice ever again.
Yeah, right.
Ever again. Because some of the stuff that we saw through 2 quarters maybe, I'm like, okay, this is not what I saw in practice. But Dalton Schultz had a heck of a training camp, and I've been kind of waiting for him to have a game like this. I thought in the playoff game a couple years ago he did some good things. And they drafted him, I know it was the 4th round, but they drafted him with kind of Jason Witten in mind, like a guy that can kind of do it all, potentially. And I'm with Isaiah, like, you got to see it more than 1 week. But he has the talent and I think the overall skill level to be a productive tight end in this league. And they really need him to carry it forward after this game.
Both Dalton Schultz and Blake Bell, according to Pro Football Focus, were the 2 of the top 4 graded players on offense and in blocking yesterday. And the fact that they also made an impact in the receiving game, I think that's something that could carry forward and really make you excited if you're Cowboys fans, because you've got the weapons. You've got CeeDee Lamb. You've got Michael Gallup. You've got Amari Cooper. You don't need Dalton Schultz to have 9 receptions and 88 yards. Sure, yesterday to get to the 40-burger, you did need that. But you need them to be great blockers. You need them to be efficient on offense, and they were that yesterday, and I think that's the most impressive thing for me moving forward. But we'll be right back here with Talkin' Cowboys when we return. Was this a bad coaching job for Mike McCarthy, and where do they improve heading into Week 3? We'll come back and talk about it more on DallasCowboys.com.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys, and your favorite football team.
Get yours today at shop.dallascowboys.com or at stetson.com.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
We're back with a tasty treat that's sweeping airwaves and taste buds. It's new Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda. Let's take a listen.
Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda's here. A new combo that's music to my ears, okay. Let's play. Cream Soda and Dr. Pepper time. Pour it in a glass of ice.
Ah, music to my ears and mouth. New Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda.
A delicious duet.
To Talkin' Cowboys.
It is a Victory Monday edition of Talkin' Cowboys, and we're having a ton of fun breaking down the 40-39 Cowboys win over the Atlanta Falcons. They get back to 500 at 1-1. Glad you're with us here on DallasCowboys.com. And guys, when it comes to yesterday's game, sure, there's excitement, and we're having fun, and there's 40 burgers flying around the table. We all took a collective bite out of our 40 burger, and sure, it tastes great 24 hours right after that win, and it tastes just as good as it did fresh off the stove. However, we've got to break this down because there were things left on the table for the Dallas Cowboys yesterday, and I want to pose a question to you. I've watched the game back twice now. I need to watch it more because I haven't really come up with a great discussion, and maybe it's just because it is 50-50. But was this a good coaching job for Mike McCarthy and his staff? Or was this a poor coaching job by Mike McCarthy and his staff that ultimately ended up in the Cowboys just making the plays they needed to do from a player standpoint down the stretch? And Rob, I know you probably have a good beat on this, so we'll start with you. Which one is it, good or bad?
I don't know if you can say it's bad. I mean, when you fall back that quickly, I mean, when you dig that deep a hole, I don't know if it's all on the coaches. I mean, some of that is on players not making plays. I think you definitely can question, like I mentioned in the first quarter, the way they approached offensively early. They could have moved the pocket. They could have done something to help Dak early that would have prevented some of those mistakes, I think. And then, we can get into some of the questions. They had a couple fake punts. And the big one that everybody's talking about that I think we probably would have led the show off with if they had lost the game was the decision to go for 2 with, 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter when you're down, I think, 9 points. And so, I mean, if they'd lost the game, it would have been 2 straight weeks of what is Mike McCarthy thinking here? And I don't know how you guys feel about it. I think it comes down to whether you embrace analytics or not, because what his clear answer afterwards was, I want to get that out of the way and then know what I have to do late in the game to try to tie the game up. I don't know. I'm of the opinion that you try to extend the game as long as you possibly can and don't put yourself in that bind potentially right away. That's just me, but I'm not necessarily a huge analytics guy, or at least not in that situation.
Isaiah?
Go ahead, Isaiah.
Well, my good comrade Rob over there already has touched on the decisions that I'm going to address. One of which, I guess there's really 3 decisions. There's obviously way more than that, but there's 3 primaries, right, that Rob just touched on. It was the fake punt, right, the first fake punt where our punter didn't have enough arm to get the ball to the gunner, which I think was a very bold play. But I think that it was a well-scripted play and a well-schemed play. They just didn't execute it, right? So I give them that one. Yes, I like that call. It is very bold. It's very risky, but I like the call because in all my years of playing, I played 6 years of professional football, 4 years, or 5 years of college football. I've never seen that play. So that was awesome. They just needed to throw the ball. They needed to catch it, and it would have been a first down. And everybody would have been like, oh, Fossil, you're awesome. All right, but they weren't. Okay, so that one I agree with. I like that call. Now, as we go to the fake punt with the run, no, I don't like it. I think if I remember correctly, I think we needed 5 yards or 5 or 3 yards. One of the two.
He got 3 yards. Thompson.
Yeah.
Needed
So
5,
you snap the ball back 3 yards to your personal protector so he can run 8 yards in order to get the 5 he needed. I don't like that call, right? I don't like that call because you literally go backwards to try to go forward for more yardage than you actually needed for the first down. So I don't like that at all. And then, Rob, you already touched on his decision to, in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left, to go for 2. I really don't like that call. I was watching the game with Kyle, and I was in total disregard. I didn't understand. I was in total disarray because why would you put your team in a situation where they now have to score twice possibly instead of only having to score once? And I think everybody's in agreement with that. I didn't like that call whatsoever. I think he put himself and his team, especially his defense, in some very peculiar positions. And luckily it turned out. But, yeah, very easily we could have been sitting here talking about how he just screwed the team.
Isaiah, I think the word you want to use is ballsy. It was ballsy coaching.
He said it.
I mean, how do you walk with those things, Coach? Because that is, man. So the go for 2, right? Let's go start there. It's not that I don't like the play itself. I thought Ezekiel Elliott was doing in between the tackles, and then a toss play on the goal line. It gives Atlanta's smallish defense an opportunity to catch Zeke on the outside there. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the play. Whatever the analytics show for running that, I guess in all the times that you've watched football, you hadn't seen a coach do that, especially knowing that now you need 9 points and there are no 9-point plays in football. And then you would need an onside kick. And, as David Hellman pointed out, the percentages for onside kicks is not that good. So I credit Bones Fossil on that, but at the same time, they couldn't have known that was actually going to happen. But then the fourth and 5, the only thing about that is guys, look, if you're going to go for it like that, put your offense back on the field.
Use your offense. I agree.
Put those guys back out there. That's the safest bet. I just didn't like that play. But at the same time, you're getting your doors blown off. You're looking to change the momentum in the game some kind of way. And Chris Jones on the first, you got the look. It was perfect. Come on, dog. Just throw the ball out. It's a little bit of air on that thing. A little bit. And CJ made up for every mistake he made by getting that onside kick. I'm telling you, he could do no wrong in the DFW Metroplex because, man, that onside kick recovery was amazing. And Greg the Leg, that onside kick was like a spindle top. I mean, I never seen anything like that. I never seen anybody do an onside kick, kicking the ball from off of the turf like that, but perfect. They set it up perfect, and thank you, all of the Atlanta Falcons guys that just watched the ball.
Yep.
Thank you. So I appreciate that.
I watched Dan Quinn's post-game press conference with Atlanta just to see the explanation on that, right? Because C.J. Goodwin told Nick after the game, like, I just knew we were going to get it because nobody's ever seen an onside kick like that. It looked like a putt.
Yep.
It looked like a golf putt instead of an actual bat. And actually what Dan Quinn said, and I don't know about this explanation, but he said, our guys know the rules. They know that you can grab it before 10 yards, but the front three on the hands team are taught, usually when it's a high bouncer, to block first and let it go to the second level and then go get it. But you forget your assignment. If the ball is right there, go pick it up. I just couldn't believe that.
Rob, let me clear this up so that everybody out there understands, because I've been on many hands teams. Okay,
all right, let's go.
If you're on the front line of the hands team, number one, you have some cojones, huh? You got some cojones, okay? All right. So if you're on the front line, that means that you're a dog, right? You are the first line of defense. You have two jobs, right? Two jobs. You either are going to old school, right? When the guys could run up, right? It was a big time collision. Those guys are coming at you. Your job is to protect the guy behind you, which is usually the best hands on your team. Oh, by the way, it just happened to be Julio Jones behind that gentleman yesterday. And number 17 is the culprit I'm talking about specifically. All right, so number 17 and his crew are up there on the front line. You either are going and you're taking the head off, right? Excuse me, it was football. But you're taking the head off of the gentlemen that are coming at you, right, on the kickoff team. Or you are simply jumping on the ball like it's a grenade, okay? You are just taking the grenade and you are putting your back to the kickoff team so that your rest of your team could then jump on top of you and pile on top of you so that nobody can strip the ball from you underneath the pile. Those are your two jobs. Actually, there's like a 2.5 point job. If the ball came hot, your job is to let the ball go past you, let it get to your guy Julio, and then you go make contact. That gentleman did none of his assignments, and I'll be surprised if he still has a job today.
Well, and also you look at really Atlanta and the situation that they had going into it. They had called a timeout previously. They had called a timeout going into that onside kick. They had time to think about this. They had time to see it. And it's also not the first time. It's the first time that Greg Zuerlein has made the kick like that, and they called it the watermelon kick, where you lay it flat on the ground and then you hit one side of it so that way it curls around. And I've heard the curling reference where it looks like the Olympics and you're sitting there with the brooms and stuff. What it really reminded me of was an onside, or not an onside kick, but when you lay down a bunt in baseball and it's down the third base line, you lay that bunt down and the third baseman's crashing in, but he knows it's not going to have a play at first when he can pick it up the ball. You're mesmerized by it because you're waiting for it to go foul. But instead, it stays right there on the line, and then it's an infield base hit, a bunt base hit for whoever the batter was that laid it down. That's what it reminded me of. Maybe they were waiting for it to go 10 yards, and maybe they were just so stunned by it sitting there.
No, maybe they didn't know the rules.
No excuses.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they don't know the rules.
They were scared.
And by the way, it was Zacchaeus, number 17, just so you know.
Yeah, call him out. They were scared. Okay, not scared. He was scared. All right. And what he was scared of was he was scared. He was not confident in the fact that he can hop on the ball and he can actually secure it. He was afraid that if he gone for the ball would squirt out onto the Cowboys side and that they would recover it. Well, guess what, buddy? You did none of it and they still recovered it.
Dude, I was cracking up writing that story last night because I'm doing my research about the rules changes about the onside kicks 2 years ago, and every damn headline I read was onside kicks impossible now. No way you can get an onside kick recovery anymore. And I mean they pulled it off. Give credit to We talked about coaching. Give credit to John Fossil and Greg Zuerlein because that is a style of onside kick that they kind of experimented with when they were at LA together, and they've never used it in a game. They've practiced it a little bit, and I'll be damned. It worked out.
They didn't
Kyle,
use it
what did you call that? What did you call that?
They call it the watermelon kick because it's a flat watermelon and you just kick it and let it curl. And by the way, it wasn't the first, or it was the first time that Zuerlein had tried to attempt that kick. But when they were in LA, the punter actually did that one time against the Cowboys back in 2018 or 2017, one of those 2 years. They've showed it against the Cowboys before. It didn't work out. It ended up going out of bounds, but it ultimately didn't work out. This time it did, and thank goodness it did because it was a fantastic play, and it's one that won't be forgotten anytime soon for the Dallas Cowboys as they win it 40-39. When we come back, let's talk about the defensive side of the football. That pass rush left a lot to be desired. We're going to talk about how they can get more pressure on opposing quarterbacks because that is legal in the NFL, and we'll talk about it next when we come back on Talkin Cowboys.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
We're back with a tasty treat that's sweeping airwaves and taste buds. It's new Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda. Let's take a listen.
Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda's here. A new combo that's music to my ears, okay. Let's play. Cream Soda and Dr. Pepper time. Pour it in a glass of ice.
Music to my ears and mouth. New Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda.
A delicious duet.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys? Jack Black. Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
It's the final segment of Talkin Cowboys on a Victory Monday following the Cowboys' first win of the Mike McCarthy era, 40-39. The Cowboys get the win over the Atlanta Falcons. We've got our resident Super Bowl champion, Isaiah Stanback, our Cowboys insider, Rob Phillips, and Heckma Harrison with you. As always, I'm Kyle Yeomans. And, the defense, they spotted 20 points because of the offense in that first quarter, and it was really kind of they were on the field all quarter long. They just didn't get a chance to get a break. You're going up against one of the top offenses in the entire NFL, but there were still plenty of things that the Cowboys defense didn't necessarily do right yesterday, and there's a reason why there were 39 points up on the board, but whenever they needed to make plays down the stretch, they did so. But Heckman, when you look at this defense, what's the biggest thing that stood out to you that needs improvement moving forward based off of what we saw yesterday?
My God, we have to generate some type of pass rush. That's just got to happen. We didn't get a lot of pressure. We didn't get any. I don't believe we even had a sack until the fourth
quarter.
And so to the fourth quarter. So Matt Ryan was very comfortable. We didn't throw him off his square at all. But I think we discovered that we have a middle linebacker in Joe Thomas, who had an exceptional game. I mean, I know we could talk about the faults in it, but, man, I thought 48 played pretty doggone good out there. But we have to generate some type of pass rush. Tristan Hill, again, showed flashes in this game where he could be dominant. I think he pretty much on the 3rd and 9 blew up play for us, man. And just overall, I think the one part of our defense that we thought that we were going to get together, the defensive line, it just hadn't been there yet. We've seen flashes, but they haven't put a complete game together yet. And to Isaiah's credit, Trayvon Diggs by himself on Julio, my God. There was points where you just had to cover your eyes and just say, oh, my God, rookie. Oh, God, rookie, please, no. But just on that pass from Gage, I mean, it's just the football gods. You'll probably never see Julio drop a pass like that that hits him right in the hands ever again.
Yeah, so on the defense, before I go in, listen up, everybody, kudos to the defense. Because Cowboys Nation, in case you guys didn't know, as much as you guys want to talk about Dak Prescott throwing the ball for 450 yards, as much as you want to talk about CeeDee Lamb catching it for over 100,
yes,
and
he did.
Cooper over 100, and Schultz almost getting 100. You almost had three receivers, slash tight ends get over 100 yards. Great job, offense. But the reason why you guys were in position to do that is because your defense kept you in this game. They were put into some terrible situations early on versus a very formidable offense, that has a ton of weapons. So this defense allowed for Dallas to get back in the game. Yes, there was 39 points, but shoot, they had the ball on the 30-yard line going in 3 times in the first doggone quarter. So what do you expect, right? So as much as people want to trash the defense, and yes, there are some things that need to be trashed about the defense, these guys gave the Cowboys an opportunity to win the ball game. So kudos to the defense. Now we get to the details. Diggs, I told y'all early in the week, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't put this. There's trial by fire and there's trial by death. And had Julio Jones not been nursing a hammy injury that was very apparent during the game, right? Not making any excuses, but that was not 100% Julio.
No.
And he was trying to tough it out because he knew how important that game was to his team as well. So he was really trying to push through, but Julio wasn't 100%. Julio dropped what we all see as 100% Julio catches, right? He doesn't drop those kind of passes, right? They schemed it up. Diggs got burnt at the line of scrimmage a number of times, right? I know the one that we always talk about is the one with Julio, but he got destroyed at least 4 times that I saw where he tried to get a jam on the line of scrimmage, and these guys literally just ran by him. So he has to get better, and he will get better. He's young, and he was playing against some vets. Not only did they have Julio, freaking Ridley went ham. And when I talk about this receiving core that those guys that they just faced, Ridley is a dog. Let's not disrespect him. Yeah. He's a freaking dog now. I mean, he's fast, he's quick, he's savvy, his routes are impeccable. So we don't have the defensive secondary to match up against those guys man for man. And when they had to face each other man for man, it exposed the crap out of them, right? So all in all, the defensive the secondary has to improve upon their technique to be able to handle receivers like this, because going into next week, it doesn't get easier. Okay, so it's not going to get easier every week. You're going to face a number 1 receiver every single week. So we have to figure that out. And to you guys' point, the defensive line, oh my goodness, we have to figure it out, right? We have to figure it out. They have to get some kind of pressure, because you're not going to be able to sit back and allow these quarterbacks in this league to sit back there and throw the ball. Yep. And Joe Thomas, that's the heart of your defense right now, whether you guys want to believe it or not. Joe Thomas is the heart of your defense. He has been the most consistent player over these first 2 weeks. He is bringing the fire. He's popping people in their mouth, and he's walking around like, guess what? This is what I do every play. He's not excited about all the plays. He's confident. He's doing his assignments. Y'all need to pay attention to that dude.
Yeah, I wrote down Joe Thomas, Brandon Knight, and Dalton Schultz. You talk about next man up. The guys they needed to step up, I thought, did a pretty good job, and Joe for sure. You guys hit on the pass rush. I mean, I think they had 6 plays, explosive pass plays down the field, over 20 yards. I think Cowboys had 7. But Matt Ryan had too much time to set his feet and survey the field and make his reads for a lot of the game. Now, there were moments where the defense rose up and made plays. I mean, forcing him to throw the ball away before their final field goal, I think it was Everson Griffin and Alden Smith. That, in a way, that helped save the game right there. So they did make some plays, but they've got to be more productive with the pass rush. And it was it's concerning to see DeMarcus Lawrence limited with his snaps in the second half. He barely played in the second half. He had a knee injury early in the game. First half, kept playing through it. Went to the medical tent at one point in the second half, and I think I only saw him for a couple plays after that. And then he went back out. So You need to be full strength there. To your guys' point about Diggs, it looked like Matt Ryan was looking for him on a lot of occasions, with Calvin Ridley, with Russell Gage, not even just Julio. But he also came back and made some plays, and he's going to be better. But I think it does start up front, and the pressure probably they're going to look back and say we needed to be more productive in that regard first.
Also, Rob, there's a ton of missed assignments early on.
Yes, there were.
And that led to like Hurst's easy touchdown, right? So those things they have to be shored up as well. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that they're still getting used to Ryan's defense. So those guys got to figure that out too, because you can't give up those easy plays. You just can't put yourself in those situations.
Yeah, you look at some of the grades on Pro Football Focus, and I'm looking down at right now, but Joe Thomas was the best defender who played more than 3 snaps. Actually, Bradley and I was the highest graded one. But Joe Thomas, of course, playing 75 snaps yesterday. DeMarcus Lawrence only played for 28, and he played well. He had he at least grade-wise had solid pass rush and tackling throughout the course of the game. But whenever it comes to not having DeMarcus Lawrence, and Rob, I'm not sure if you've heard any updates here. It's so tough getting these COVID injury updates because of the lack of access to these teams. But have you heard anything about DeMarcus Lawrence? And if he is not good to go moving forward, at least you have some depth at that position, right?
Well, I think to me, it was encouraging that he was on the field and did a little bit in the second half. I just know they're going to take a look at it today and see how he's doing. Same with Cheeto, by the way. I think he hurt a hamstring on a punt block attempt, I think, in the fourth quarter, and he didn't come back. So now you're looking at your secondary, too. You just got Jordan Lewis back, but you got Anthony Brown on IR for 3 games. So you hope Cheeto can make it back this week and be fine. But, yeah, the injuries are ridiculous, and really
all
across
over
the league, man.
Yeah.
A lot of top guys went down yesterday. Really unfortunate, but hopefully with the Cowboys, you came out of it relatively okay and not a lot worse than you were before. Yeah.
Hey, Rob, let me ask you, man, and that's not – before a lot starts to be made of this as far as Tank and just him changing his stance from, hand in the ground to a bicycle stance and just saying that may change his game a little bit because we know Tank has been a guy that's had his hand in the ground. How much credence do you give to that move with Tank now adjusting his game, going to a bicycle stance in Nolan's defense?
That's a great question. I saw John Owning, who I really like his work with the Morning News. He said that 2-point stance is something he's got to continue to work on. So I don't know, Isaiah. Do you see a difference with it in the way is it affecting his play at all?
I don't know if that's what's a testament to his play right now. I do know it is a change for somebody who hasn't been in that position before to stand up now and come off of that stance. No different than it is for a youngster to go when they're running track from a stand up from a 2-point stance to all of a sudden getting into blocks. It's different, right? You have to get accustomed to it. So it's something that he can learn. He's a professional. he's the top 1% of the 1%. He will figure it out. And if he doesn't figure it out, I'm sure that paycheck will remind him to figure it out.
Yeah, and I think whenever it comes to DeMarcus Lawrence, it hasn't necessarily just been the 2-point stance. He's not necessarily seen the same kind of dominant success that he had earlier in his career, at least a couple years ago prior to the contract. I still think he's the same player. I just don't necessarily know when we're going to see that same kind of production and that same kind of oomph from DeMarcus Lawrence, and hopefully it comes soon because that pass rush absolutely needs it. But that's going to do it here for Talkin Cowboys, our first Victory Monday of the 2020 season. We'll be back tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Central Time. It's Fans on the 50 Day. Bring your fan questions. Get them riled up. Good, bad, ugly. Let's do it. Let's answer those questions. We'll break down the Cowboys as we start looking ahead to Seattle week and the Seahawks on the horizon as a trip up to the Great Northwest is on the horizon. But as for today, for Heckma Harrison, for Rob Phillips, for Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Special thanks to Chris Beam in the back. We'll see you tomorrow here on Talkin Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!